And one of our friends said, the river doesn't judge, but it can respond. And the same thing is true when you're trying to positively change the river. The river can't advocate for itself. We have to do that for it.
Paddle Forward began in September of 2013. 11 young men and women paddled the Mississippi River from Lake Bemidji, Minnesota to New Orleans, Louisiana, carrying with them all their belongings, food, and water. They discovered the Mississippi watershed by meeting with people living in river communities and professionals working for a healthy river system. After the first trip in 2013, Paddle Forward has paddled 2 other major rivers, the Illinois River and the Minnesota River. Each river teaches something new about the places we live and health of our environment. A watershed describes an area of land that contains a common set of streams and rivers that all drain into a single larger body of water, such as a larger river, a lake, or an ocean. The Mississippi watershed consists of all of its tributaries and eventually drains into the Gulf of Mexico.
The watershed in the Minnesota River is called the Minnesota River Basin. This drains nearly 20% of Minnesota's waters. Agriculture activity accounts for 92% of land use in this basin.
It was on life support for a long time. It was polluted, the wildlife were struggling, and the future was very much unsure. It's still polluted, and the wildlife is still struggling a bit, but things are getting better. We've seen river otters, we've seen eagles, we've seen indicators that the ecosystem is getting healthier. And that's because people have advocated for their river. They've advocated for the health of their watershed.
The Mississippi River is a complex watershed. The river begins in Lake Itasca, Minnesota, and travels 2,320 miles to the Gulf of Mexico in Louisiana. Over 5/8 of the U.S. drains into the Mississippi River watershed, and 18 million people depend on the Mississippi for drinking water. People along the entire river rely on it for recreation, such as fishing, wildlife viewing, and paddle sports. Just like we rely on the river for drinking water and recreation, the river relies on people to care for its health. As we paddled, we noticed how the river is being affected. 2 major contributors to water quality are runoff and erosion. Runoff is water that travels from land to the river. This water can contain pollution from yards, streets, farmland, trash, and any other surfaces that rain touches. Erosion is the gradual destruction of the riverbank from the water. Erosion is severe when more water is in the river and there's less stabilizing plants on the riverbank. As the riverbank erodes, there is more sediment in the river affecting the water quality.
Not only are the communities on the Minnesota River affected by the water quality, but of course all the communities on the Mississippi River that uses the Mississippi water as a source of fresh water. And then of course, further down from that, the Gulf and all the communities on the Gulf that use it. And it's important to think what's downstream from you. So it's not only something that affects you, but it affects people that you don't even know. And so you want to make sure that things that are happening in your community aren't negatively affecting people further down.
The point is that you don't have to be an activist to be a part of your river community. You can literally do anything. Make one sustainable local choice the next time you shop for food. Volunteer when organizations in your area have cleanup days for the river. If there's no organization in your area, start one. If you just like paddling, if you just like fishing the river, great. Talk about it. Tell your friends. And if enough of these small towns along the river have a large group that cares about it, and then all of these small towns work together for a common goal, then that is an incredibly powerful tool.